Parking stuff.
Yes.
Part
I
of
was,
it.
I was like, oh, I can't use the staff for this one.
Most of it's like, all right, oh, let me just.
You up and roll?
I did park out here though, but I know we need to park back there in the future and
Oh, at night you can.
at night you're here.
That. So we got overflow at Roma Joe's, they're giving us some space there,
That's nice.
the staging is giving us space.
All right, we will open the workshop. We have 5 counselors present. We are ready to rock and roll. We have the town manager, the town clerk, the town assistant manager, and DeCarlo what are you, the economic developer?
We're gonna say professional help with that.
Yeah, and we have Art DeCarlo.
We have Art DeCarlo. So I said our town clerk.
Are we recording this? Should we start? Are we recording this now?
We are recording it, but it's not on TV.
And you need
We don't have public input,
Okay.
but we are recording it, so we can, when it's happening.
Cool. And post.
Post
Yeah,
it.
25, cool. All right, so the goal tonight is to just go over what our goals are looking forward as a council, what we want to work on. Every year, we usually set some goals. We try to set them with a priority. We try to get some low hanging fruit in there to get it done. There are some that obviously will span out over the course of the year, possibly in the next year, depending on what they're on. We are coming into the busy part of our season with a lot ahead of us between the budget and the fire department moving up. We're gonna look at paramedics and the rest we gotta hire. So we have a lot on our plate coming up in the upcoming meetings, so we'll get these on the way. I'm gonna compile a list. And then we'll go back through, see what we wanna do priority, what we wanna work on. It is a workshop, so no voting, nothing can be decided on tonight, other than we can decide what priority we're looking at working on these items. Short of that, we will get rolling if nobody has any questions. I will start with Paul. Why not Paul tonight?
Wow.
Right under the bus.
How's it feel, Paul?
You always go second to councilor comments usually, so.
Well, you know, first of all, I'm glad we're doing this. I wasn't fully, ready. I wasn't fully understanding like what our role was going to be tonight, but now I do. So, I think, I spent, a few months campaigning on certain things and, as opposed to a lot of politicians, I intend to like try to follow through on some of this. So I talked a lot about downtown stuff and I still feel that that should be the priority of this council. And there's probably 2
Microphone,
projects.
please, and talk into it.
We're
I know
on,
you
we are,
want to
we are
lean back,
taking.
but gotta move it close to you as possible.
Everybody missed that stirring speech I just gave.
Yeah.
Do it again.
So first is, I think we need to deal with the railroad out parcel. I am fully, in on trying to get that, parcel redeveloped. It's a hazardous waste in the middle of our in our downtown. It presents a unique opportunity for the town to create some affordable housing, to do some things possibly that DeCarlo and I have been recently talking about, and we'll be talking about some more. And I think we need to keep moving that project forward, because with projects like that, and I've seen it many times, if you don't keep moving forward, they die. And I think there's also opportunities. If we don't continue with that, those funding opportunities might go away. So that would certainly be one of my priorities. The second one, again, is related to downtown. I would like to continue with the Shoetown Park planning. I think one of the keys to our downtown is making it a very sort of livable, community-friendly, family-friendly place. And I think we saw this year by moving the concerts over there and other stuff, what could legitimately happen over there over time. I don't think it would have to be a huge financial ask. I think we can do this in a phased way. I think we can, come up with a plan, seek private funding, seek donations, go to some of the local, the Rotary and the Lions and other groups and try to move forward with that, maybe use some of our TIF funding. I bet we have the opportunity over the next couple of years to make that park a really family-friendly, unique sort of place to be, and I think it just ties into our whole downtown effort. So, and again, I don't think that needs to be a huge financial investment. The other one, Railroad Ave, I mean, I think at this point, we're just looking at, the Carlos line, which actually, costs money, but also because we have the opportunity for grant funding and other funding too, so. And then finally, I would, I guess we get three.
We'll go, so we'll go.
How long can I go on?
So we'll go with three to start, running around. My goal was to keep this to an hour and a half. I do not want to roll past 7:30 tonight.
That's fine.
I think if we get too deep in it, we're gonna have a list 9 miles long, we won't get anything accomplished.
Yeah.
So.
And I do think that communication is a priority for me. And I think it is for the town. And again, I don't think it's a huge financial commitment. We've hired a part-time communications person. I would like to see the town get more engaged with, digital communication, not just Facebook, but a digital newsletter. Not things that we send out with the tax bills or whatever else we may be doing right now, but something more sort of robust where we can get information. Not everybody in town is on Facebook, so I think we need to understand that, and and not a lot of people want to be on Facebook. So I think we need additional ways to communicate with people. I think we should look at digital newsletters and other ways, and I'm not an expert at this by any means, but I think we need to sort of beef up our communications with residents, and I think it's been happening right now. Over the last few weeks as we've tried to do that, but I would like to, and that may be a minor investment. Yeah.
Paul, so, just one thing for the council, I'm sure you're aware of it, but we've gone from before we hired Suzanne, we had about 1,100 people on our Facebook page, and we've gone up
Dramatically in how easy it is to search. I gotta give him credit. It used to be an absolute nightmare. It has come a long way in 2 years, and if people would just. Anything we can do to get more people to understand what we're doing, I'm for it.
I
And,
mean,
and
is there a Q&A on the town's website though, to your point, like if there wasn't a question they could find an answer to? I think part of the problem though. The information's there, but say an email is sent that is asking a question and it's responded to in that email. Maybe if that question was posed on a, for lack of a better term, a blog on the website that someone at the town would then answer. Now the answer is public, it becomes indexed on the website. So now the next person to go search the website.
So instead of reaching out to the department head to ask a question, they would have a searchable database there where that question's already been asked. Frequently asked questions, if you
So,
will.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, the final thing I would say about that, and maybe this goes up into like the Carlos realm or whatever, is, we don't have a chamber of commerce. We don't have any, somebody comes into town, it's like, where can I take a hike? Where can I eat? We don't have, there's not information other than just like town hall information. There's like nothing that provides information to people who maybe have recently moved into town other than scouring, whatever website they might happen to be on. So I mean, I think the town, I think we can do more as far as providing better information on things to do in town, where to places to go, those types of things. So, and I'm sorry, I just looked at Joel's stuff. And I'm gonna throw in one more. And Joel, I'm all in on the regional collaboration and shared services too. So,
I'm all in on Shoetown Park.
well, there we go. We got two votes. I think, I'll talk about that more maybe at some point, but I think the regional collaboration and shared services is something we absolutely need to pursue too.
So we were just saying, on that topic, we were looking in the past few years, we're trying to do a transfer station, right? Because we have two transfer stations within 5 miles of ours,
Right.
between Berwick and Ellie. And we were at one point trying to work through, South Berwick would be open these 2 days, Berwick would be open these 2 days, Ellie would be open these 2 days. So any resident from those 3 towns could go to those 3 transfer stations. We have looked into that. Rules are a little different, but again, it is something that, again, we would save money. And we would make it more beneficial to our residents having more hours and more options. So it is something we should definitely look at, and we'll get there when we get to.
Have we
think
ever
Joel's got it.
looked, have we ever looked to an app? Like a town app,
Not in the time I've been.
Town app.
like an, yeah.
Like a .gov kind of a thing.
Mhm.
We did look into texting.gov.
Mhm.
We did look into that a little bit. Elliot had it for a short time and they're getting rid of it because it wasn't working as well as they expected it to.
Okay.
It has been considered. We do have a quote.
What would the intention of the app be?
Mostly to mimic our website, but make it a lot more interactive, but give you the ability to have it on your phone. So like if we wanted to do a push from like to announce town meeting tonight, here are the topics this week, a new agenda was posted. We have an event at Shoetown Park, don't forget this.
Better website that has mobile.
Pretty much, yeah.
It does have that access. For sure to do email, I would have to double check on the texting
No, but we do have that.
on our website. Yeah.
Yeah, we have that now. You have to sign up for it. And we post that every month to have people sign up if you want. to get notified.
I am signed up for it. It's definitely, I mean, I know it's new to the town, but it's definitely clunky. In
Yeah.
terms of the user experience that you would expect from a website, it's.
Suzanne's gonna start digging deeper into our website and making sure we're using the capabilities and trying to push out information back.
Oh, yeah, no, and like, literally just Googled it, have no details on it, I was
Yeah,
just kind of wondering like, would an app be helpful? Cause like to the point Polly brought up, if you are new to the town, if someone's coming in, if they're like, I don't know, download the app that shows you like what events are happening.
Right.
If you wanted to go for a hike, here's an interactive map, I don't know, just idea.
Well, and the other thing is like, even if, you know, if you're thinking of moving to town, if you're thinking of moving your business to. It's a little more sort of.
Sales.
Sales, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, that marketing the town might be controversial, but, you know, I mean, I think it's something that.
So, I agree.
All right, what you want to talk about?
Yeah, so just a couple things when you were talking about communications. People are generally moving away from standalone apps, but they're going more to web apps.
Mhm.
So when you're going to like the town website, it actually presents itself more as an app like.
Yeah, so like a PWA.
Yeah. So that's where like the market is going. You know, to what Sam is you're trying to get at is usability of like the website for getting information that's going to be useful. You know, we have a huge resource in the amount of information that we have on our website, and that's what Tim is trying to get at is that Suzanne is now looking into using more of the capabilities of our services that we already have. I can tell you already now I've used this company before in other municipalities, and it can do more. We can do a lot more, but it does need to be managed. Most municipalities much larger than ours. They have a webmaster, right? And the webmaster's job is to make sure that the digital information is presented in a certain way. To Paul's point, that's a even separate issue, right? Because your municipal information is not necessarily the same information that you're going to attract businesses. And that's why a lot of municipalities have separate, web interfaces for attracting, talent, businesses, people to the town. Whatever your goal is, but it's separate from the municipal information of, where do we pick up our trash? When's the transfer station open? And so those are separate, those. Wanted to give information about that, you can do it, but there is a cost to everything. And the decisions aren't free to do it or to not do it. To Paul's point about, Shoetown Park, it has become the culture, center of your town now that, events are moving over there and everything. It's being more of a useful space for sports, and cultural events. It already was being used for National Night Out, for the police and everything, but now everyone is seeing that resource and they're beginning to use it again, and it's being more connected to your businesses. And on that note, the walkability and usability of your town, the rule of thumb is that you should be able to walk a quarter mile to some type of, park or anything or public amenity. And so this is about the, active transportation plan, the meeting that is actually coming up pretty soon. I think it's next week. Members who are on that just got that email. And so we are on that route, but that will mean, thinking about how to fund those amenities and within the town. So I just wanted to just prepare you guys for that. Especially during this conversation that we're saying, hey, these are the priorities. And I'm the ones here going like, all right, so if you want to do this, this is a way to fund it, this is a way to fund it. And some of these things are actually no cost to the actual members of the town. So the Railroad Avenue, what Paul was trying to allude to, is that we have this asset, which is the property, but it's time sensitive because the grants and everything that would allow you to develop it on the developer side, that timing is variable. And there's some funds available to develop that site now, by developers, but not by us. And so that's some of the issues that we're facing right now.
And is that the site where it's being discussed to be residential, business, or both?
Yes, yeah, absolutely, thanks.
John, so the final thing I would just say is, I know there's a whole bunch of other stuff, and I haven't included issues related to LD 1829. I mean, I'm just assuming that, those are just gonna be part of.
That is gonna be the large part,
Right.
other than
Right.
budget,
Yeah.
LD 1829 is what we're gonna be talking about
So I mean,
bi-weekly.
Right.
almost daily on 1829.
Right.
1829 from the manager's perspectives and on the listserv, it's a train coming down the tracks and it's gonna, and we've got 100 moose standing on the track and it's gonna plow right into that.
Yeah.
And that's how 1829 is gonna probably, that's what we've gotta get prepared for right coming into our community. So you're absolutely right, Mr. Chairman, above all of this, about budgets and our thoughts and ideas and Shoetown Park, we have a monumentous project to try to make sure that we manage 1829 correctly, or it's gonna run over us. And there'll be a lot of work and effort on your part, so, we're grateful for these ideas, but certainly we're in the background going, there's a whole lot of other stuff, and some of the stuff for us is we're restricted by staff and by the ability to get stuff done.
Which was the goal tonight of, again, Paul had mentioned it to me, and I know, Sam has also brought it up. Everybody ran on certain goals, right? Mallory and I did too. I soon found out after I got elected, half the stuff I ran on, had I paid attention to town meetings and gone to them, I couldn't really affect. So tonight really is about getting these things down here, putting them on paper, looking at what we can really do, what we can really accomplish in the first year. You have 2 years, you all have 3. What we can get accomplished in the first year, along with what we have ahead of us. And again, the big thing, and we all know it, we've all talked about it, our legislators put us on a trail that is not good with 1829, and we need to make sure we have something in place by July. And July is gonna be here real quick. We gotta start working with sewer and water, so. That being said, Paul, you're good?
Yes, I.
We will roll over to Joel.
Roll over me, alright. So one of the things that I ran on and definitely have been hearing a lot since I've been getting involved in the community is just the overall engagement in the budget conversations that we have here. So I would like to make sure that we're providing adequate opportunities for resident input, but like making sure those are handled properly and with enough notice and creating like a good open space. This also could be connected to what Paul has brought up with having like a town councilor Saturday where residents can come in and just talk to us. Let us know what their concerns are, because we can have what we want to accomplish, but at the end of the day, like. We were elected by them to serve them. So I would like to really move forward with that either by the end of this month or February to schedule our first one. The other one is I heard from a lot of people when I was running, as well as we saw it when we had the most recent vote here. There's a push for anonymous voting when it comes to the budgets, but the way that we currently do it with having all the different lines, it's not really productive and it takes up a lot of time. So Tim, I think we talked about this last week, or in our last meeting. I would like one of the focus for the council to look into how we can have our cake and eat it too, give people the ability to have the anonymity of voting. Let's make it so we aren't voting for one line at a time, either in a room or we do it on a ballot. And that can be mimicked here. We can combine the calendars. I know I'm not supposed to mention the school, but we can combine the calendars between the town budget and the school budget on one day for the vote to go through. Which would then free up the time that we have altogether for actual discussion and debate, and the people can vote separately. Transparency and trust and communication, that's gonna be talked about, I think, between all of us. Sam, I think, has been doing a really good job of that with his blog posts, as well as like, I like to keep posting to let people know what we discuss at the town meetings. Getting information out to people sooner rather than later, I think, is a very large benefit. I know agendas aren't due till like, we have a certain time frame, but putting it out there and then having it posted where people can know these are the topics that we're going to be discussing this week. If you have opinions and thoughts, please come in. I'm sure that probably you're also working on a strategic plan for the town, so like I don't need to talk about that. That's what you got. You're crushing it.
But if you have thoughts or information, I do want to know it.
Oh, no, you will, but I don't need to be a goal when you're working on it. We will talk about it. I'm a big fan of strategic plans. Another one is, I know a lot of people had a lot of opinions about when we did the most recent change to property taxes. Again, I think Paul in our meeting, legally, I think we're supposed to do them every 10 years, and it's been 17 years.
What are you referring to?
When we
Reevaluation.
yeah, so we just did it last year. Based on our conversations internally and looking at Maine law, I think it's supposed to be every 10 years.
Supposed to be every 10 years.
We were at 17, which is why I think it was a big sticker shock to everybody. But I would like, before the next one, like we already know it's supposed to be by a certain time limit, we create a plan so everyone in the town knows that this is when it's coming. This is how you can start preparing for it. This is how it's done. Let's get involved in picking the group that does it. If you see someone outside your house, this is what they should be doing. And I know some communication went out, but definitely not nearly enough.
We just, on that note, just so you know.
Yep.
We talked about that for a year.
Yeah.
A year at town council meetings.
But this goes into a bigger, like, I'm not trying to shade.
No. I understand, but what I'm getting at, Joel, is going back to where these guys are. We talked about it for a year here. Nobody knew what was going on. Because apparently we can't reach out to enough people. So we need to get this communication piece so we can get that, because we tried, it didn't go out. So now we need to come up with something else to get it. I agree with you, it needs to go out. We tried our butt off for a year to get it out there, we couldn't, so now this piece hopefully will help us do that. That's all I was getting at. I wasn't defending anything on anything, but again, I lost track of how many times we talked.
Can I make a suggestion on this one? So because you're right, it's 10 years from now, basically, we'd be starting right now, while this is fresh in everyone's minds, we should like do an after action, like
Thank you.
document.
That's another one.
Like what, so we have this document, so we can pick it up in 5 years or whatever.
Yeah.
To, you know, just keep track of how, what we have learned from this past reevaluation, so
Yes.
we have that.
Cause it took 3 years to be able to get to
Yes.
Yes,
implement.
exactly, it was a learning experience for all
So
of us too.
I think in one of my like posts when I was running or on my like website, because after we had the conversation internally, it was, you need to announce this 5 years before it happens. You spend the first year like looking at different vendors, then the town votes, or we choose on one vendor, then you spend the next year having them come and do presentations of this is what it's gonna look like. The third year, they go out and do it, the fourth year, they provide the number to you, and then you announce everyone, and then fifth year, this is what it's going to change, so they have a year to prepare their budget. I think a lot of people were just really upset that they didn't know, they felt like they didn't know what was happening. A number was given to them, it's like, you have a month to plan, blah. That's the biggest thing. On that as well, I think I don't know if we've already done a recap of our recent voting and election for pros and cons, have we done that? Like a SWOT
Did you guys
analysis
do
on that?
anything internally, like that after action review after the election? With the.
Yeah, we met and went over stuff.
Okay.
But we
Like
didn't,
what worked,
I mean, there wasn't much, it wasn't a very big election, so it wasn't.
Overall.
I'll email. I thought.
Okay.
Well, I mean, they're just one of the main things, like, we had to find someone to open the doors.
I think, like-
We didn't know who could turn on the lights. It was
Yeah.
like, it was really dark by 5 PM,
Yeah,
and we still had 3 more hours to vote. and-
at high school, that's.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we did an after action on all the
Okay.
stuff that we need to do, better signage, lights,
Where is that
After
information?
in communication
and
after.
internal rating. It's just, we haven't done anything
It
with
was
it.
the first time there.
No, thanks. No, again, high school was positive, it was great. So it's internal, which is great. Are we gonna, or do we have plans to share it externally to then get feedback from people in town?
I hadn't, because I haven't heard, this is the first.
Are
I've
you
heard of it.
asking about it right now? Are you asking for that information?
I would like, if we have it, I'd love to
That's
see
all you
it.
have to do, just ask.
Yeah, we'll share whatever, well, we have, a few ideas we have, but, you know, I mean, it's, yeah.
Yeah, great. I would,
That was
I'd
the
love to see it.
request for information. Right?
And then in June, it's gonna change again because the entrances all have to be changed.
Oh, yeah, because we flip the flow, right?
School will be open.
Oh, yeah.
And then, I think that's it, I think that's enough right now.
Alright, so I wanna roll back to one thing.
Mhm.
The way budgets and the town meeting is held.
Mhm.
I would respectfully request you go through this budget cycle, you go through this town meeting before we look at making any changes to how we vote. Because the way we do it, all of our budget hearings, all of our budget meetings are open to the public, they're all here, everybody can come in. Our last one, our public hearing, which is before the town meeting, public's welcome to come in and ask questions. We've had this place with a whole bunch of people, they've come in and asked questions. Tim and Jen are here to answer them. The difference between our budget and the school budget is we do it by warrant articles, by budget line. If we do one line, here's $7 million budget, either pass or fail.
Mhm.
That fails, where do we as a council know what the town wants us to cut? So when we vote line item, people get to come in and ask what this is, and they get to vote on that particular line item, and it's explained to them. So when we had 200 people next door at our last town meeting, there were questions about certain line items because some of those people hadn't been to any of the meetings. We had time to answer those questions. And they went different from their original vote of no to yes, because then they understood why it was X amount of dollars. One of them was the fire department, why we were looking for that extra money. Because we are adding the ambulance. So I don't have an issue with changing it, because it would save me 2 hours of sitting here answering questions to all the people, if we could vote on the same day as the school. But I would like you to go through our budget cycle, go through the town meeting. And then we can revisit it after May to see what your view is and what you think differently. That's all I would request. If you're okay with that, if we put that down in the list, just so the three of you can see it from sitting on this table, what we do and how it's run.
I agree. Well, actually, on the switching from a town meeting to a ballot vote, I'm a little bit kind of indifferent about. I can see both sides, but I think it's really important for the three of you to experience a budget process. There's so much to learn over these next few months. especially as we're talking about all of these financial processes, I really encourage all of you to just like give yourself the space to experience the budget process and learn about it, and then maybe reevaluate your opinion on how those things are working. Because there is a lot that you'll uncover in the budget.
No, and I'm positive I will. The only part that I'm looking to change, I don't wanna change anything that you just listed, except for when people vote. I still want us trapped in here for hours if people want to analyze every single one of their tax dollars, because that's what they should do. And we should be equipped enough to defend the budget that we are gonna present to the town. I don't wanna change that at all.
Okay,
What I wanna change to the point you said, and I think the school does the same, you have to vote on every warrant article,
yes,
multiple, it takes a lot of time, which is fine,
yeah,
We ran into this at the school one last year. I've already seen one vote here where it was one of the first like topics brought up, or how we can vote to like protect privacy. I'm sure it's gonna be brought up more this year. Is after we go through all of the debating, be like, this is the budget, like we're moving forward with. It's a ballot. And I don't know if we have the same policy that the school does, where if it's turned down, we go to the 2025 budget. Until we have to do another one. That's the only option. Like, I'm happy to continue the conversation, like, I've seen it from the taxpayer side. I'm sure I'll see a lot more like behind the curtain on this side, but it's mostly just the process to give people the ability to vote. Without feeling that they're gonna be judged based on how they vote.
so understanding the school budget and the atmosphere around the school budget. I've sat here for 11 years on town budgets and or town meetings, and I came to them prior to being on the council. That vote we had here a couple weeks ago is the first one I've ever seen where anybody has stood up and asked for a secret vote. Last year with 200 people was the first time I've seen 200 people in a town meeting. I've been in and out of here on a $6 million budget under 25 minutes, correct?
Yeah.
For a town meeting, because we had 5 people here.
Right.
So we are getting more. I understand you and I understand the feeling. But I'm an old school, if I'm voting, and I'm gonna vote and hold my hand up, because again, at the school, it got very contentious. And I understand that, because the town budget's different than the school budget. We don't have the fighting online about the town budget.
You are,
About the school budget.
You will, and you have and you will.
No, we won't. I don't think so, but because they present down to the penny on every line item, and I know the school does too. But it's different, but I'm okay with it. We can look at it. I'm good with it. But I'd rather not change anything for this upcoming town meeting. Until you guys actually go through it, we'll see how it plays out.
And I mean, at the end of the day, that decision is a vote of 5 people.
Right, yeah, that's just my opinion. If that's what you wanna do at some point coming before May, you'll make a motion at one of the meetings. Sooner than later, so we start working on it, and if it passes, it passes. If it doesn't pass, then we stay the way we are. That's as easy as that works.
Yeah, I mean, ambivalent about it. I'm not ambivalent. There's been, I agree. When I heard reports over the years that we had like 15, 20 people at a town meeting, I mean, I was like, what the heck?
That was a big meeting for a couple
What are we
years.
doing? Now, it has increased over the last few years.
Which,
I'm not sure. I mean, I agree. I know what you're saying, Joel, and I think I could probably be willing to go in that direction at some point. I think putting that in place right at this moment, as we're trying to work through this for June, might be a big ask for me.
I think from like a lead time perspective.
Yeah.
So we would have had to have, for June, we would have had to have done it. You would have had to have voted on that like in November.
Cause like we have to change our charter.
No, we don't have to change the charter, but there's a certain amount it's different because you're going to a closed ballot vote. So you have to have ballots available 45 days in advance, correct? And in order for us to get the ballots, it's a different time frame to make the ballots, get them back here. So if you're going to a secret ballot vote, she's gotta have ballots available so people can get absentee ballots. So the time frame's different from where we are now so in other words, like right now, you'll be approving what you're gonna send under the warrant in the first meeting in April. That would have to be bounced back to the first meeting in March. So now that means, right now, you'd be going through, we'd have to go through the budget hearings, we'd have to be doing budget hearings this week, this month, next month. So it bumps everything back about a month, because you gotta have longer times to give that. Very doable, very doable. By a vote of the town council, you can do it. And lots of communities are doing it. Mr. Chairman, I add something else so that.
Oh, please do.
So on the budget, there's two types of budget in the state of Maine. There's line item, which is mostly cities, places that have mayoral governments, and city councils that have a different type of government. They can change, they budget by the lines. And then there's baseline budgets. We do a baseline budget, so we put in all the lines. And then you vote on the baseline. And if there's a change in that, then I have to go back and we have to figure out where we're gonna change it. So you're voting on the base of, so let's do public safety, right? So included in public safety is the police budget, the fire budget, the hydrants, communication. That makes up the public safety budget. So that, and you vote on that number. Then you may not like the fire department, so you say, okay, I'm proposing this budget, but we don't vote on the individual line items.
But you do for the individual line item of public safety.
What's that?
Public safety is an aggregation of multiple
Yes,
That'll
departments.
be a warrant, one,
That's one, that's still the one.
yeah,
warrant. Yeah.
warrant 7 is public safety.
So it would be the exact same thing in a closed ballot, in a secret ballot. vote.
Yep.
They would just be voting on the 10 or 12 or
The same,
15.
yeah, the same warrant
articles.
that they do vote
They
on.
would just go in, check, and do that. So that's all. I just wanted to make you aware, but it's very doable. Just, we have a certain time frame you gotta do it in. That's all. I just wanted to.
No, that, again, that's the reason for this. Like I said, I have no issue going to secret, or a closed ballot. I have no issue with that at all, nothing. Okay, Joel, anything else?
I think that's all.
Mallory?
So I'm kind of operating under the assumption that, there's a lot of things that are just gonna be ongoing because they're already started. So like our downtown revitalization work, like we've got the committee going, that stuff's moving forward. So I was kind of looking at more like incremental net new work. I think that we need to hire an owner's rep for the town hall. I think that's a big priority for us in the next couple of months. I think we need to make sure that we are, staffing up and allocating appropriate budget for our fire department and EMT, given that we started up that new service. That's a big priority that we have this coming years to get a full staff working at the fire department. And I agree with Paul on Railroad Ave that we should make some progress there on whatever progress I guess can be made. I know that that'll probably be a slower one. Those are my three. I agree with everyone on the communication stuff. I think that that's probably a thing that will never stop and trying to improve upon as time goes on. I do think that the website could stand to have like more integration with the calendar on the website. Like I think, and I haven't looked in a while, but I think like when you go to the calendar on the website, I don't see that today was a workshop. Like it's buried in like the town council section. Like if there's a way that we could bring like the planning board, the town council workshop, all that stuff into the actual like website calendar. I think that that would help a lot of people just because that's like an intuitive place that people to go to find out what's happened. You were gonna say.
May I?
Yeah.
So a couple things to help with that. Suzanne has been posting that, if you haven't seen on the Facebook page.
Yep.
Like every 5 minutes.
Yep.
Then it's popping up. So when we started with Suzanne, we had a very limited budget for what was offered Paul's stuff. So, you know, we started there. We are meeting next week with Suzanne.
That's correct.
So we have a strategic planning meeting next week with Suzanne to all the things you're talking about, exactly that. Is where do we go forward? What do we gotta fix? How do we gotta do it strategically? What do we get done? And then to take that piece and then say to her, okay, what does that cost us and how do we get there? That's what we need from Suzanne, is to educate us, because none of us are the experts on that. And she has said she would be glad to do that, so she's coming in next week as part of both the budget process and future communications. Is how can we improve our communications 1,000%? Because I recognize absolutely, we speak municipal government and the world speaks the word. So I just want you to know, we are moving in that direction. It just staffing and time takes time, that's all, but we are getting there. All these things you're talking about and the shadows of what we do in these walls are being somehow either talked about, discussed, or on idea boards, planning boards. the Cowles boards, Jen's board, all these things you said tonight are not things that haven't shown up and are not somewhere within our world. Just, if you told me, Tim, we'll give you $7 million from limited people, we'll have a great product tomorrow.
Is the town website, so we use like one of those organizations who just do civic, I mean, they're like Civic Plus or.
Revise.
Revise.
Okay, I mean, but they're very sort of. Regimented and structured, right? I mean.
That
You know,
you need a local webmaster.
Yep.
To run it. We don't have a webmaster.
Right.
We have Dawn.
Right,
Dawn does the best she can.
I mean, yeah, I was just
You
wondering.
need someone who works on the website daily.
Yeah.
I don't have that.
Right, I don't know how much, because we used one at SMPDC and we had very limited ability to like make it do what we wanted it to do. And I don't know if that's the case with what we're talking about here.
No, we went with the Revise because they had lots of availability in different programs. The problem we have is we fail on our end, 'cause we don't have staffing.
Does it have a content management system in it?
It has a limited content management system.
That's
Yeah,
the meat and potatoes of a good
yeah.
website.
It does have a content management system, but it needs an administrator to actually work appropriately, like you need it to work, like what
Yeah.
you guys are talking about. You need an administrator or a webmaster, yeah.
Yeah.
I did give Suzanne the contract today. She had asked for it prior to our meeting so that she could understand what the capabilities are there with what we're paying for in our current contract. So that we can utilize it to its fullest potential.
And she has experience with revised websites.
Yes.
Yeah, she has her master's degree in communication. She worked for the town of Kittery for 3 years doing that.
Doing their revised website.
Well, I don't know about,
She did their website, she did communication, she did all
Is
yeah.
it revised?
I don't know.
that. I'm not sure.
But I have to look back.
You know,
That would be the learning curve if she has never used revise.
Just like there is for everyone at the town.
I know, but if you're hiring a consultant, what you do is you hire someone who has
Yeah.
experience.
But we didn't hire her to manage the website. We hired her for communication. So if we need to hire a
Right.
webmaster, then that for sure comes into play. If we want to upgrade her to webmaster, then we need to allocate funds.
So you're recommending us get a website master in the budget, correct?
No,
I mean, I feel like that's what we're.
No,
doing.
no, let me finish.
No.
Come on, yes or no? Yes or no, Council Flincher?
I just answered no for Counselor Flintstrom.
Or are you recommending you do it?
My personal opinion is that the revise platform is clunky and it doesn't have user experience that other more prevalent platforms within the private sector included have. So people are more familiar with other, graphical interfaces than what we have. And a content management system is something that makes it really easy to enter data. So for example, from a calendar standpoint, if you had an Excel sheet that had the date, the description, you basically give it fields. You have a date, description, the time, what board it is or committee, and you upload that Excel sheet into the website and it will format it based on whatever template you give it. And if it sounds like it has those capabilities, and it also sounds like we need someone who can set that up.
And
And the time to do it.
Well, if you had someone that could set it up initially, and then you're just entering data in a manner that is more familiar to everyone else, then it could accomplish that. I mean, yeah, it's important to have someone manage a website, but I think, the communication person could do that, and if our communication person doesn't have experience doing that, then I don't know.
I don't know.
Like, it's, I know for my, obviously different, but our companies use Wix. And Wix is very user friendly, and they've only become more user friendly in the last 10 years.
So when we did do, one of the things you gotta remember, we're different. We're different because we're South Berwick, because Council Sam Flingstrom is here, and I'm just kidding. But we're different because we're a municipality, we have to protect all the municipal records that we have, such as birth certificates, social security numbers, all those things. So when we did the contract for the computer, the website 4 or 5 years ago, we had to send it out that we worked with Lyle, our IT people, that we had to put it out to a company that had security and you can't talk to me about it because I don't know, but something to do with, it's municipal based. We had to have something that worked in a municipal based system, which is the same thing on a lot of our computer stuff. We can't work in the real world, probably can. But I'm not the guy to talk to them, but
Yeah, I feel like if it's I mean, if you're not hosting, not to get into the weeds, if you're not hosting the website on your own servers, then that security, any information you're putting onto the cloud server is going to be public information to begin with. So from a security standpoint, they're up. And just pragmatically, I don't think there would be a problem.
okay.
If it's on a cloud and not hosted on the town's computer.
Can't tell you.
I just have one other comment and something that Carlo brought up too. I mean, yeah, and you said that, you know, regarding the website, I was trying to make the case that there's town information, but then there's other information. And, you know, I think we need a way to get to that other information. I mean, and I don't know how that can be funded, whether it's through TIF funds or whatever. I mean, we're trying to be business friendly, we're trying to attract businesses, we're trying to attract families, trying to attract investment. Right now, nothing that we have really supports that, you know, other than calling town hall, you know, so I don't think we have that. I mean, I think we need things that sort of promote the town. And again, I mean, in another town, the Chamber of Commerce would be doing that. We don't have that luxury here. We have nothing, you know, so anyway.
Yeah, so, you know, just to give an overview, most of you guys know what I've been doing over the last year is just literally just putting our infrastructure in place and getting the programs up and running. And then the next phase is the marketing portion and advertising these systems. But I had to put the systems together and put the training wheels on before I can actually advertise that we have things. But we are getting extremely close to now we need to start advertising in order to get that investment in the areas that we want to get the investment in. So we're right on the same timeline, Paul. It's about that time to invest, to get the investors in. And, you know, they're starting to trickle in already through word of mouth, and people who want to be here and beat the market are headed here right now. But it's about to shift into active engagement and trying to bring that investment in. So you're exactly right.
Sorry.
I have one more, sorry. Also, I emphasizing LD 1829 more so from our time perspective.
Yeah.
I feel like we are gonna be spending much of March, probably meeting every week in the month of March, probably multiple times a week to do budget. And I think we need to mentally prepare ourselves, so we're probably gonna be doing something very similar, meeting and workshops with the planning board for LD 1829. I don't necessarily like associate that with like dollars per se, but I think we all just need to like remember that we're gonna need to be available quite a bit to work through that stuff. That's all I have.
I'm putting the timeline right now. All the items are already there. It's more now I'm looking at the calendars of seeing, okay, how do we fit this in the time that we have without messing up our market?
And how do we like tackle it in like reasonable chunks,
Correct.
right? Like we can't say one workshop is gonna be it. Like I
No.
think we need to like be like, we're gonna work on this section tonight and then we're gonna walk away for a
Correct.
couple days and then come back.
Yes,
I
and
think
so,
that's productive.
yeah, it's splitting it up into the comp plan portion and what areas of the growth area. Versus the synoptic survey, like that section, you guys won't see, you'll see the data that comes from that.
Yep.
Criteria making, this meeting will only be about what are the criteria of being in or outside of the growth area
Mhm.
without discussing the neighborhoods themselves.
Mhm.
And then when the data comes in, then applying your criteria to those areas. So then you can make an informed decision of, this is our criteria, does the criteria need to change? Or are we okay with these decisions? And then at the next meeting, and interspersed throughout there is having direct community meetings. So this is not a public meeting, it's not a hearing, but it's a community meeting. So you can get direct feedback from, from members of the community. And it's not you all versus them. It's an opportunity for the community to see the data and see the information in a way that they can understand. So that you can feedback at these points. And if you need to have more community meetings, it allows you to have those things going forward. And so I'm putting together a draft package to put through leadership and then get to you guys. And then once you okay that, hey, this plan, and these dates, then you will have way ahead of time. And then what that also allows us to do is advertise and get the word out way ahead of time.
Great.
When I've gone through these major plan resets or amendments in the past, what has been helpful, I've tried it always, right? I put in the advertisement out into the papers, you get a subsection, you do on the online groups, you get a subsection of people. But what actually has been the most useful, funnily enough, is direct mailers. And if you direct mail people on a postcard and have a landing site for people to go to, a physical location that they can go to and see the information, which is the key. People come out in droves, because they go, well, why did I receive this letter? And then sometimes they come out really angry, and go like, why are you doing this to us? And then that gives you the opportunity to explain, this is what the state has done to us. And this is how we would like to try to address X, Y, and Z, and gives you the opportunity to do that. So that's the package I'm putting together. It's almost done to get to leadership and then to get to you guys to do some tweaks, but we're still on schedule for that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So part two. Once we go through all that fun, and that'll be lots of fun. Then comes the implementation, and once it gets implemented, the monumental task of the council going forward next year and the years after. Will be the outfalling of the budget crisis caused by LD 1829. Every time you bring a person or you increase the population of our community, it has an adverse impact on our direct services, fire, police, public works, schools, obviously. So in years to come, the challenge of ADUs with 1829 and municipal government that's already stretched to the max is how are we going to continue to pay for increased services to deliver these services, this system. That'll be challenges, I'm just telling.
That's why we need impact fees.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, I was just gonna say, did we end up doing impact fees? I can't
next
remember.
week
Next
is your
week, yeah.
presentation on
Cool.
impact fee.
Yeah, next week, so that's coming.
That's the silver
But
bullet.
I just, again,
Well,
Not really.
It's kind of a.
have we had many conversations about it at 1829?
yeah, we've had many conversations on LD 1829, which is why this is the perfect time to have a discussion on impact fees and specifically the impact fee study. What the impact fee study will do will tell you the cost of a new house or new dwelling unit coming into the town to the tax base, period, on the current service load that you already have. And then you make a decision if you're going to charge the people that fee, that additional cost that is costing to put them on your infrastructure. And so regardless of what you do, the more people who are coming in, there is an increased cost. Now, there's a difference between the cost that people are coming directly in your downtown because the infrastructure is already there versus more people going out to the rural area because the trucks have to go farther out, the people have to go out to the services provided, it's more money to do so. And so there's a difference between that, but there is a cost for more people coming into the town. The opposite of that, which is thank God you guys are in the seat and I'm not in the seat, is if you don't have impact fees and if you try to stop any additional units coming in, then you have an inverse impact into the cost of services on your current population, number one, and the cost of the homes in the area, number two. Because if you stop the supply, then the current supply gets more expensive. And then an additional more expensive, the services get more expensive. So this is a complicated relationship between the two.
Moving on from 1829.
No, I'm sorry. No,
We gotta
yeah,
get Sam to
I'm sorry. I mean, it may be an unpopular position, but I think the town needs to grow. I mean, we're a community, we need to grow in a sustainable way,
It's a very unpopular position to some of us, so.
I know, I mean, and I'm sorry, I live out in the backwoods. and
Me
people
too.
like
I wanna
to
leave it that
house
way.
next to it. But, I think, we need to, we need to grow to support the businesses in town.
However, we need to grow in affordability and we're not gonna grow in affordability and that's the problem we're having right now. Kittery's proved it, Elliott's proved it. Lebanon used to be the cheap place to go, right? Houses in Lebanon are now $600,000 or $700,000, not $50,000 and $100,000 like they were 15 years ago. So you spoke to it, speak to it again. LD 1829 is not helping working class families and the workforce. It is not gonna help the workforce. I don't see it helping. That's my personal opinion. Moving from L 1829, because we're gonna talk about it for the next
A while.
4 months. Sam, what you got?
So yeah, I tried to slim I slimmed my 3 down to 1. Because I knew that you guys would all talk about some good stuff, and I wanted to talk about a foundation, an operational foundation, as I sort of am calling it, which is software. And something that will help everyone accomplish the goals that we were sort of just talking about, in my opinion. So an enterprise resource planning system is sort of a software package. Many different companies provide them. Tyler Technologies out of Texas is the largest, so I read. And it's software that is tailored towards governments and is both internal and external facing. And it's basically organization and communications tool. I don't know how familiar you guys are with OpenGov or GovSense, or Munis is the Tyler Technologies one. But myself personally, I interact with them when when contractors submit in the permitting process, contractors submitting their permits to a municipality. I'll have access to an interface where these documents are all available for me to view. I can see comments that the municipalities made on them, actions that are taken, inspections that have taken place. It's a record keeping and communications tool. I think it's important that the town invest in a platform like this, because to my knowledge, there is not a single platform that's currently operated by the town. I imagine the assessing department has one that they're working with for the assessing data, and finance has maybe an account, the Trio software that they're working with. But as far as a all-encompassing single platform that is truly capable of interfacing with all departments, I think it's something that is badly needed. I think it will help break down silos of communication, both within the town, but also between the town and the public. For example, like I said, I can show you a demo at some point of what I'm talking about on the online for these permits. But from a public facing standpoint, with respect to record documents, right now, people go into the code office, they talk to Mike or Jenny, and they pull out the file, they sift through it, make copies, take pictures, whatnot. Obviously, it would be an effort to digitize all of that once something like this, if it were to be implemented. But moving forward, if a permit was issued, it would be put online with respect to that address and therefore its location on the GIS map. And anyone from the public could go and click on that property, and all that data is right there available to them. They don't need to come into the town to not waste resources, but expend town staff's time to pull those files out and again, not be in the way, but be there when town staff could be focusing on other stuff that's more productive, so to speak. And don't get me wrong, I think public access is incredibly important. That's why I'm presenting this. But if there's a way to access it more easily, it will make it more efficient. There's other aspects that priorities I ran on, such as capital planning. Again, this type of software is capable of interaction with the GIS and therefore tracking asset costs, asset depreciation, life cycle cost of assets, whether it be a road, a police car, fire truck, a desk, however detailed you want to get. That being said, from a finance standpoint, that all that information is then able to be rolled up and spit out as reports on a button click basis, not a export from Trio to Excel, print it, add your notes, scan it in, email it out. It's modernization of systems and workflows that results in efficiencies, accountability, ease of use, better communication. Just, I think there's so many benefits to having something like this. Obviously, this is a huge, could be, I don't want to say huge, it would be an undertaking. And from what I read, these companies, they sort of roll them out in modules based on what, for example, a permitting module, where if you want to do all your permitting through this program, you have the permitting module that you subscribe to. If you want to do your finance, you'd have that module. If you want asset management, you have that module. So there is an ability to implement in a phased manner where you can prioritize which aspects of the program you most benefit from, see how it goes, and then sort of, go through a loop of multiple iterations of implementation, and through each determine what worked, what didn't, and whether future implementations would be beneficial. So with the that's what else did I write in here? Oh, procurement policies is another huge advantage to a system like this. As you know, like every year the CPA's audit notes that we could use some work on the procurement policy, and by incorporating, I don't know if you guys have ever done procurement at like a corporation where like there's workflows online and each level of position has a certain purchasing threshold and approval level without getting further approval. All that stuff can be built into the program. So as you're going through trying to buy something, that it will be an inherent check and balance on whether you should be able to do that. And if not, it'll inform your supervisor or whomever by the procurement policy needs to be informed that they need to provide approval. In that whole process, there's opportunity to communicate back and forth and make notes, reject, blah, blah, blah. Again, just information that's easily accessible, indexed, and not only valuable to internal functions of the town, but also external facing to the public.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
So within the state of Maine, we have two choices for software. One of them is Munis that you mentioned.
Yeah.
And the other one is Trio, because they're directly linked to the state of Maine. So when you go into the clerk's office and you see money to register your car, when she swipes your credit card, that's at the state level. The state level collects that money and reimburses the municipality our portion.
Mm-hmm.
So we do only have those two options. So everything that happens in the clerk's office rolls over into finance. Everything that happens in assessing rolls over into finance, so that we then can generate the tax bills. So all of that is all connected currently. There is a code module that we're not using that we could look into. There is an asset management one that we haven't used because municipalities don't have to book depreciation because it's kind of a fake expense. So the auditor does keep that record for us and does update that for us every year, as well as in our CIP plan. We keep track of all of our equipment, the age, what it's costing us.
And is there any public facing options there? Because I think a huge opportunity here would be to ensure that the information that's collected, which is primarily public information, would be accessible in a manner to the public that's easy to search and gather. And maybe not, it doesn't, and I'm
are you referring to like dashboards?
Yeah, like what are you?
Yeah, so
That's cool.
Yeah, you go online and you would search for a permit number or a capital improvement project number or a public works project that's currently going on. If you were to go online, type it in or go on the GS and click on a road and be like, oh, project is this much money, it's budgeted for this year, and if it's this year, it's this percent complete, this is who the contractor is, this is the whole bid process that we went through to get there. It's structuring it so that we don't end up with situations where we just don't know how we got to where we are.
May I ask some questions? So, is this an operating system or is this
It's a cloud-based program.
it's a cloud-based
Yep.
program, so. As Jen said, we're required to have one of two operating systems that are bid by the state of Maine, Munis or Trio, we use Trio. And it is clumsy, I've
And that's
used Venus
specifically,
before,
sorry, that's specifically related to transactions with the state.
but that's our operating system, our computer operating system is Trio. So like,
It's not Windows.
You know, Windows is our operating.
well,
system,
Windows is the operating
Yes.
But
system, right?
Creo is like our municipal operating.
Right, so like,
Operating software.
so we have all the GIS, all the assessing cards are online, you can go in and find it, is that? Or is this above and beyond that?
This is above and beyond that. This would be workflows. I think one of the primary importance would be workflows for procurement.
Okay, so my next question on that is, so that sounds like a great idea, but who would be expected to put that in?
So it's basically, from what I've read online, you contact the vendors. I have a little schedule here with the sort of the steps that I would.
No,
anticipate doing.
No, not that, council, thanks for, so go back to like your road project, right?
Yeah,
So we're halfway through the project, who puts that, who gets that detailed information, puts it,
who's doing it now?
we don't.
We don't have the ability to click on a road and see the status of the project right now, it's not a thing.
Right, we
You
don't,
must track projects and their costs, and you must have budgets, and it's in all.
we do, so we bid the projects out.
Whoever does that now, that's who would do it.
Well, but we don't, so it's the department head doing the project,
At budget time.
at budget time, they get approval. And so you remember how you said different,
So you don't go up to bid.
we do, over $10,000, we go out to bid. And then that bid comes back, it has to be approved by the town council, then it's administrated through the department head. Let's say, for instance, it's a road construction project for 300,000, right? We put that out to bid, we get that back. And then that procurement, all that money goes through Jay, where he does the project, he's the project coordinator. He keeps track of those money, he brings the bills in, Jen, finance pays the bills. And we, look at, okay, this is how much you got left in the project, this is what you're doing. But we don't have anybody that,
Doing strict cost accounting on every single project. We don't.
Right.
have anybody doing
Then
that.
we should. And
okay, so you,
whomever's,
can I have a motion?
well, whomever is doing that now, because it sounds like you put a project out to bid, you're going to have an RFP that would be put into the system and it would be visible online to whomever wants to respond to the RFP.
Well, we don't always go that route, we might put, so like we did the RFP for you were asking about the transfer station, we got two of them back. We had to go find them, we had to call
Yeah.
them, no one, we put the RFP out, nobody, or an RFQ, whatever it is, nobody answered, we had to call people to answer stuff.
And that, where was it advertised?
Wherever we advertise, we put it out on the MMA website usually.
So this would be a place where it could be advertised and people could directly respond in this place.
Hmm,
Now you have bids in this place.
okay,
The bids can then be reviewed on this program. People can comment on it. You can make a recommendation or whatnot to council. Council would then be a part of that workflow process. They would make a decision. All this would then be an audit trail in a single spot related to a specific project that is now accounted for. And then each invoice that comes in would then get tagged to that project. Now you're accounting for the project, not just your overall CIP budget for the department.
Do you have a rough idea how much that software might cost?
Yeah.
40,000 a year,
40,000 a year.
40,000 a year. That's for all, like, all modules.
Yeah, and I think like the cost per year and then like what cost there would be, because I think what all of this stuff that you're saying like sounds great, like I would love to implement something like this. And I look at what we have on our plate and I look at how difficult it was for us to transition to Trio whenever what we were on before.
It was Northern Data. They did
Yeah.
it, which I was
We
no
can't
longer,
go away from trade trio.
So-
No, I-
yeah.
Hold on, let me finish my thought.
that was in 2017.
Transitioning to Trio was a monster undertaking.
Huge.
And I think Trio is far less than this, right? So how do you suggest we implement this? This feels like we're gonna need a change management person, because this is not just a new technology, this is wildly new processes. And so we have to like implement new processes with staff and then have technology in
It
place.
sounds like we need new policy is as tight as it needs to be, specifically if we hit a point in time where we need to go up for federal grants. And we want to break that $1 million number, we want to be ready for that audit and not retroactively expending labor to get our ducks in a row.
We will be, because when we get the traffic light, we're gonna have that. We're gonna be over that threshold. So,
Right, so we should be ready for that
yep, we will be,
audit.
sure.
Is it Trio 365?
So
It's
to answer
real
your
bad.
question, Mallory, I think that would be a part of the complete this needs assessment and define the goals and desired outcomes where it is you can pick modules. I think a valuable one would be permitting, licensing, like stuff that we review as a town council, simple workflows that we can sort of say, oh, okay, like the what is it? The liquor licensing that we go through. That is such a simple workflow that would be a
That is a
easy.
state-driven process,
So,
though.
so,
Correct.
We don't have
It
control
comes-
over that
You
process.
have to do, it comes to us.
no, so hang on.
The form
No,
the
So-
form that we review for that very specific process has changed in probably the last 6 to 8 months. That is
Yeah, I'm
a state-driven,
very familiar with
state-driven
that.
Well,
process.
we have no say on this.
Yeah.
If we vote
We
no,
don't have a say on the.
if I vote no on a liquor
is-
license, as a town council, if I vote no on a liquor license, the state can
Yeah.
grant it. We
Okay.
don't grant it.
Correct. However, we are a part of a workflow in that process. And the workflow is
Yes.
the town clerk receives an email from the state with an application that someone has submitted to the state. Monique gets this email, okay? She needs to upload it into a system. I'm sure there's probably Outlook integrations with this system too, so it's probably a button on your taskbar. Upload to this software licensing, the licensing module for liquor licensing. As soon as she does that, it would trigger something to say that on our next agenda or whenever, we need to review this. So now that document and that item is not just tracked in her email and on her work computer. It's in this thing that someone can go look and see.
Mhm.
When did this come in? How long did it take her to get it onto the town council's agenda? Or when did the town council review it? When did it go back to the state? And that would be the end of that simple workflow.
So I had one question, because I love new stuff. Who is someone?
And everyone
Because-
who's
Yeah.
currently doing.
No,
a good
no,
question.
who
Who
is
is
someone? Who is someone that, so I'll use the culvert on Embridge Bridge Road, because that directly affected me and I hated it. And Jay, the guy, did a great job, but it made going to work a nightmare. We had updates at every single council meeting and updates and emails every week on where Jay was, cost, everything on that job. We updated the town on the website every week on where we were on that job. What does anybody else honestly need more than what they got?
Great example. That's a great example because
Okay.
say, okay, so this project comes up. Now it's a project within the program, right? The culvert.
Yep,
These updates. Jay, however, he was communicating them by email, probably. So he was doing some sort of communication to get that information to you.
yeah, there was a phone call to Tim every day, seeing where it was, and then Tim sent us an email.
Okay, so
Or update on the meeting, yep.
that phone call, if that was written down and tagged to this project, then now any of us at any time could go to that project and see the note. And that's the end of the workflow. Now it's not him calling Tim, it's not Tim writing an email, it's not us putting it in paper in an agenda. And then like the.
I got it, I
workflow
just don't
is much
see-
shorter, actually.
No, I got it. I just don't see the huge need in our town with the small amount of projects we have.
Right.
Incurring that cost to have it fingertip available for anybody that wants it, because I don't see that many people wanting it. Like, I really don't. That's just me again.
So are we not growing?
Yes, we're growing, but
Is
we
this,
need to grow the right,
so-
we need to
so
grow
right.
carefully.
So this
sorry,
would be,
just gonna jump on, so is it, I just wanna kind of understand where the pushback's coming from, because it seems like Sam wants to create a more organized flow to make, and correct me if I'm wrong, to make transparency more available for people to kind of see what's happening, but also it seems like this would improve everyone that works in this building to kind of see what's happening as well.
Jay's still gonna call Tim every day.
And you know what, that is fine, if that's his comfort thing, he can do it, but it seems that like the hesitations are who's going to do this, and are we going to need to pay extra money for it? If we already use Trio Web,
Mm-hmm,
they have an ERP function in it. We already pay for a system
yep.
that has an ERP function.
We'll
Could be.
explore what additional.
Would you
options
be
are
open to
available.
that? Sam?
yeah, of course, this would be to
So hang
implement.
on. It's not what Sam's open to, and this is no dig on Sam. There's 5 of us sitting here. It's what the 5 of us want.
I get that.
Okay,
but
I just wanna make sure we're clear.
So Sam's proposal was like $48,000. Potential for like software
And all the time.
and all that, and all
Yeah.
that, yeah.
We need to be flexible,
Yeah.
first of all, to new systems, we need to
Yeah.
be able to
I-
be willing to learn. If we're going to start growing and we're gonna be, you know, just wanting to use the same antiquated back napkin systems, we're going to get in a bind really fast. And we already had this bathroom properties thing that got to a consent agreement and, you know.
Nope, that was, we're not even gonna get down that, we're not
Well,
gonna discuss
well,
it.
it would have been prevented, in my opinion, if there were procedures and checks in place such that things were documented properly. I have a similar personal experience related to the,
Again,
escrow
we'll
fund.
we'll stop right here.
excuse me,
No, we will stop
I
right,
can
no,
validate my reason.
we will stop right here. This is a workshop. We're not gonna go over past council business, we're not gonna go over personal
Okay.
business.
I'm
know.
validating the need for the system.
I understand your need for the system, and we don't need to discuss those 2 instances to validate your need. I understand it.
Sounds great.
We use a very tight system in the way we communicate where I work. And everything is tracked and everything's there and everything's visible to the next person. So I got it. I understand it. I'm not against it. I'm looking at the cost versus benefit right now, where we're at in this town, with we're gonna have to come up with. Don't quote me, cause I know we're online, $500,000 to pay for paramedics this year. That $40,000 to buy software and then train everybody to use might be a push. I don't disagree, this system would be great, I agree with you on that, I see a need for it, but I don't see a need. That urgent of a need with the amount of projects we have going right now, that's all, that's it, that's my view.
This. I'm sort of agreeing with you. This would be a massive undertaking for a town. I think just because of all the complexity between the accounting and the assessing and the GIS and the permitting and which is not to say it's not a good idea. I think there's some low hanging fruit in here. I think, which we should investigate. I mean, I think the licensing, the permitting, where projects are in the planning board application process. I mean, I don't know if it just astounds me, like in Maine, you can't call the town and find out how many residential building permits have been issued in the last year. I mean,
You can, as started of next month.
right, well, so the state has ordered us to do that, so there you go.
And just.
Oh, what's this?
Well, I don't know what system, I don't know, but they told us we need to do it, so when DeCarlo can figure it out.
We
I-
did just update to Trio Web 2 within the past
Yeah.
8 months.
I,
So that was a nightmare in assessing,
Right.
it's finally.
I guess, I mean, I know what Sam's saying, I think this is a great idea, I think it needs more discussion. If, God forbid, a committee, somebody who knows a lot more about how this might work than I do. But I do think there's some things in here that we could certainly investigate in the short term, and I think they revolve around permitting and licensing and things that people like want to access more often than not.
And if our programs allow it now, I mean, if the program we're already paying for has this functionality,
Let's look into it.
perfect, we should look into it, I agree. with
But I don't know if some of our programs do. I mean, I don't know if I can find licensing and permitting on planning board applications or code enforcement applications or code enforcement violations through your office or the code office.
So no, so we're not on that level. It's digitization of your systems. I've been an employee at many different places that has many different systems such as this. And number one, if we have a module, it's really up to administration to see procedures there. There's a cost associated with everything that you do or you do not do. And that's why I always tell people, number one, when you're going to a digitized system, first thing I always tell people, because I've been a part of going to a digital system, digitization, is that you're right, you do need additional staff time in order to do that. And that may equal additional staff, people to do that. Just for permitting and planning, I can tell you, we're talking about, there are benefits, there are absolutely benefits to it. Like you're able to apply online, literally apply through an ERP system by signing up and putting the plan steps to, and you can see your steps of like, where are you in the staff review? Where are you on planning board review? Are you on a preliminary or final? And then approval and timescales in that way. So there is absolutely a benefit there, but I also see the other side of the cost benefit analysis of our scale of we are right now versus the cost associated with implementing and maintaining that system. Because the maintenance of the system is also a cost. One other thing, I'm very forefront, you guys know me, of everything I say, is if the system is $40,000 to start off with, even if it's a lesser cost in Trio to start off with. I don't know. I don't use Trio. I literally, so again, I don't use Trio today. It's not a part of our workflow here because we're all paper since I've been here.
It's 23,000 a year.
Yeah. But there's also a cost of implementation. Like there's always a one-time cost to implement, which is another capital cost to implement that system as well. And then there's the staff time or the staff knowledge base in order to do the data input, which is another member here started to talk about data input of the actual system. Overall, it does benefit a town when you're able to have integration to GIS and you're able to click on it and especially when you're doing sales and you want to know if this bathroom was permitted when I'm trying to sell this property, or do I need to get a sign off so I can get insurance for the property. So there's also benefits that way, but I can only speak to the ERP system as it pertains to like a planning purview, but I can't speak to the other side because I don't have experience with that. I just have experience with the planning side of procurement.
So the trackability procurement, I can tell you who's got it for me when I order something. I can tell you who looked at it last, who's got it, whose desk it's on, how long it sat there.
This is at the yard.
Yes,
Yeah.
I can track it all the way through. I can track it all the way through to when it's delivered, who will sign for it, everything, right? I have that at my fingertips. But I also have a whole department that's all those people do, right? There's 100 people in that department, and that's all they do is that procurement part. I'd love to have that trackability. It would make everybody's life easier if you could. And it's something we should look forward to. However, my caveat is, again, the size of the undertaking, the amount of the money, and the need right now, we should get away from napkins, agreed.
Yeah,
But the need right now is, the current need right now today with projects we have is where I'm struggling.
I hear that, and I think, to get from this discussion to implementation is, which would be the trigger point to payment, right? That takes time in and of itself, so.
I don't want to go away. I don't want this to go away.
Yeah,
I mean, I think we need to be moving in this direction. I mean, it's just how we get there.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Sam, I think that this is great stuff, and I think that your point about like some processes needing to be modified, absolutely. And I think that this is a great starting point for us to identify where we may need to make some minor process changes in town. I have so much experience with my job of throwing technology at something without accounting for the people and the change that needs to happen with it. And I feel like if we don't consider that in this and we just purchase a new tool and then like we're just reacting and trying to implement it, I think that that's going to create a problem for us. I think that this highlights a lot of great opportunities for us to identify new processes, modify processes, look and see what Trio also has to offer. I also kind of think we're tiptoeing a little bit here in what is not our responsibility. We are policymakers. We have an town administration to facilitate the operational running of the town. And I think that this is just maybe we're dancing along that line here because we're talking about an operational system and operations is not our responsibility. So I just think we just need to tread lightly with that.
And we are responsible for every dollar spent.
Yes, agreed.
And if that to validate, it's talking my own opinion, to validate every dollar spent requires systems to be in place. And if those systems aren't in place, I suppose I agree. This is the town would be purchasing this management system, and it would be expected that this level of rigor and detail would be executed by the administration.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
may I ask Council Flintstrom some kind of question?
Sure.
So first off, I think, I would support this idea or anything that helps bring us forward to the future. Cause I'm not gonna be here forever and nor will any of us, and we need to leave it better than we started with. So I think future technology is good. I don't really understand all of that. It's not my forte, but I understand what you're talking about. Couple quick questions. Would you be open to the Trio program module or that piece that we would look up?
Yeah, I think the first step in general would be to have some sort of, and I know we're not making decisions here, an agreement that something needs to happen with respect to ABC. And like, it sounds like I believe permitting and capital planning are two major ones that I think wouldn't be too intensive to start with. So yeah, of course, this is not vendor specific, and if that program that we have existing has these add-ons, that would be.
That we're forcing
They will-
for our other program.
Well, if, I imagine that we don't pay for them yet, they're there to be added on, so.
But
We'd
we're
have to-
forced to
we'd
use
have to
Trio
pay
for our finances.
So if
Yeah,
that's
interesting to me.
if I may, so would you be open to the conceptual idea of piecemealing it, like getting, for instance, the permitting piece, if we could do that, and I don't know if we can.
Oh, yeah, I think it has to be that way, because I mean, if you were to, and I apologize if my extent of integration looks large, it would definitely be a phased implementation. I totally understand the staff involvement. I've rolled out project management software to companies that are 500 plus. I get it. Like, it takes time and people get PO'd, and in the end though, it makes things better, and I believe this would make our town better too. That's why I brought it.
And so I agree with you. I think we need to look into the future as much as we need to look into growth management for the community, for residential as well as business. I think we need to look at a management tool that will help the staff tomorrow, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, continue to, whether through administration, financially, permitting, to be as frugal we can, to be as efficient as we can for the taxpayers, correct? So I'm open to looking at this, and I think all your ideas tonight are good. all the councils. But I just want to remind you this one thing. I would love to do that tomorrow. I would not have a problem. And all these ideas, but I as the manager will tell you that I'm only restricted by taxpayer money. If we can get over the taxpayer money, I can do a lot. I just can't get over the taxpayer money and the cost. So this year, when I present to you your budget for the 26-27 budget, it's a no frills budget. There's not gonna be any extra gazebos or extra parks or extra tree houses or anything extra in it. It's gonna be basic operating budget to keep the roads plowed, the police up and fire and ambulance and the lights on, and that's it. I don't put anything extra because we just can't afford it. This is all regulated by taxpayer funds. And I like these ideas, but we have to prioritize how much we're gonna spend and how we're gonna spend it on. That's the issue, and how to get the staff to do that. I agree. I think we need to look at the future tomorrow, always be looking forward and ways to improve. And that's ideas you have, ideas we all have. I will put those ideas in. You'll need to approve them in the budget.
So I'll put a list together, a complete list of everything you guys put out. I'll get it out to everybody in an email, and then we can decide where we wanna start picking, right? Obviously, yours is a major endeavor that we can start looking into, but it's definitely not something we're gonna talk about at the next meeting.
Oh, that's, that is understood.
Yeah, 1829
I
is,
think, I think, sorry.
no, go ahead.
I mean, each of these companies, Trio included, they have salespeople, they'll come in and they'll talk your ear out, you know? And if it's a demo with a module, or I can pull up what I am familiar with OpenGov, like, just so you can see like actual clicks, like. And you know,
Oh, yeah, I mean, like I said, and my budget's 35 mil that I have personally, right? And if I need more, I gotta go to a lot of people. And so I got that side of it, and I got the technology side, even though we're a million behind everybody else. I just gotta keep it low because of where we're at.
I mean, again, you know, I think there's some low hanging fruit. I think we can like talk about this further. I think we like a phased idea. I can also say I've worked with dozens and dozens of towns in this region. I've seen them try to implement new technology and new ideas, and it's been a problem. I mean, you know, that's it. Okay. Right.
Listen,
I agree with that, but I mean, I do think that, and I'll even go to my own office where we introduced new accounting software, which our accountant couldn't figure it out, so I think, I guess I'm saying we should proceed cautiously, but I do think it's worth it.
yeah, I think it's worth a whole lot more discussion.
Yeah.
I appreciate you sending it out early, so I had time to read it before I got here. Greatly appreciate that. This one was, a good read. With that, we will close the public meeting, and we'll be here next
Oh, you don't have
Tuesday.
any ideas?
Huh?
You don't have any ideas?
I have nothing honestly that worth discussing, because 90% of it, with the exception of Sam's, was covered. I was not looking at what Sam presented. I can be honest with that. The rest, no, mine are all, again, my biggest thing I need to work on as a council, we need to work on, our biggest thing right now is LD 1829 and trying to get it fixed in this town, because the number of ADUs we could put in Agamenicus Estates scares me to no end.
1,100.
I wasn't gonna say 1,100 out loud. Bless you twice.
Bless you.
3 times you have to go home.
That one sounds, that horse,
Office rule.
that horse is out of the barn, the 80
The
years.
80.
I understand that, but if you look at 1,100 houses in
But
Agamenicus
if they change our
Estates.
roof area, that, there's a
Yeah,
way.
with the ADUs, it doesn't matter.
No.
Are they not revisiting? 1829, that's stuff.
We can make it.
They are, but they don't.
Motion to adjourn?
Yeah.
Yes, I call it.
The only two changes we're looking at are the